and I think quite a lot of people understand that they should be allowed to live. But realistically, that's not going to happen, and you have to come to terms with that. And then the best thing for them is to be locked up and throw away the key. They should never be allowed back in society, because they will just recruit people and they will just do this again.
At the moment, it's not clear what will happen to Qoti or El Sheikh. They could be sent to the United States to stand trial. The Foreign Office says it does not comment on individual cases or ongoing investigations. Professor Anthony Gleeson directs the University of Buckingham Centre for Security and Intelligence Studies. Hello, Anthony.
Good evening, Steve.
Good evening. Who will decide what happens to these two?
I think ultimately President Trump, ultimately it will be the Americans who call the shots. Indeed, it's been the CIA working in Jordan. The operation is called Gallant Phoenix, an operation that has been mopping up in Raqqa. It's been collecting information from the mobile phones and the laptops of the people who were left behind or indeed allowed to flee the Islamic State, so-called Islamic State fighters. And they are slowly conducting a dragnet. Together with the Kurds, very doughty fighters, been on our side all along, they are beginning to round up people. I don't think these two from Britain will be the last by any means, but it is an American operation. We've been told today the two men captured last month have been stripped of their British nationality and citizenship. Therefore, there is no automatic reason why they should come back to Britain and be tried here.
And how were they stripped of that citizenship, Anthony?
But they were captured on one of the things he may not have been good on. He was good on security, and he took the view that people from Britain, British passport holders who went off to fight for the so-called Islamic State, could be stripped of their British citizenship because, in effect, they were swearing allegiance to the enemies of the United Kingdom. I think that was an excellent decision, but it has meant that our jurisdiction over these two has been limited. Now, there's a problem, because if they do go to America, they face the death sentence, and we've heard the daughter of one of their victims saying, you know, she'd like to see them die a long and painful death, which in a sense is what would happen if they went to Guantanamo Bay in America. But I think many British people are anxious about extradition. Not me. America is our oldest partner in extradition, but people won't want them to go to America. So it can't come to Britain, and we won't want them to go to America. But me personally, and also for Tobias Ellwood, a government minister, the right place for these people is the international tribunal in The Hague, where their war crimes will be committed. They will never be let out.
Would the British government want them to stand trial in this country?
I think the British government will not want them to stand trial. For one reason, if the Americans are saying, you know, we want them in America, the British government is very reluctant to say, no, we'll try them here. But there's another reason. These two are highly dangerous people. They've had, you know, they've been a part of a sadistic, brutal killing squad. But unfortunately, they are seen as heroes by their Islamist co-believers, of whom there are many now in Britain's jails. So
Wait. Oh my
into
God.
a British jail, and even if you put them in maximum isolation for a period, they will nevertheless have a radicalizing effect on other prisons. We don't want that. Why should the British taxpayer pay for these people? They're not British citizens. It's absolutely right that they be put somewhere where they can never get out.
What's the background to this story? These two men are both from London. So how did they come to be members of IS?
Well, Steve, we know a lot more about these kinds of things than we did when this first became a problem more than
said. Wolf.
What's going on now?
Creature aspect of it all. Get rid of those extremist creatures and do something to prevent crime.
We still do not know, Anthony, do we, what the fate of the
Trying out this Euro
journalist
truck.
John Cantley, who was kidnapped in 2012.
Birmingham to Cardiff.
Indeed, we don't know, and in a way it would be wrong to speculate. What people will remember is that
Okay.
he was
Coming off here.
kidnapped, then became one of the so-called Islamic State's most effective
M6.
Mason is at Westminster. Chris, good evening to you.
Evening, Stephen.
So this is clearly dynamite, for, not just for Northern Ireland, but because the Tory party is dependent on the DUP vote to essentially stay in government. This is significant.
Yeah, because it's playing on two of the crucial things, Stephen, that are in play right now. So we can park pretty much our conversation now. The massive question about our future relationship vis-a-vis the European Union, i.e. the end state, at the end of the negotiations and at the end of any transition period. And instead look at the two issues that Mr. Barnier was addressing today. Now, firstly, before we do that, worth emphasising, he is a negotiator. He is a negotiator for the UK's, if you like, opponents in this conversation. So, of course, he's going to make an argument prior to a negotiation that stakes out the kind of maximum position from the EU's perspective. But what was he saying? Firstly, he was saying the whole business of this transition or implementation period that the EU wants to be just under 2 years in duration, starting at the end of March next year when Brexit legally happens, is not a done deal yet. Now, that is a point of fact because the negotiation hasn't started, but it was seen to be relatively easy because there isn't a vast amount of difference between the EU stated position and the UK stated position on transition. In other words, pretty much everything will stay the same, even though legally the UK will be outside the European Union. It will still be subject to the rule book, what's called the acquis, still effectively be in the single market and the customs union, still be subject to the oversight of the European Court of Justice. And that frustrates some because people see it as effectively continued EU membership, even though we're on the outside book. But there are some wrinkles, there are some disagreements. So the EU wants to see permanent rights maintained for EU nationals who move to the UK during that transition period. There's a disagreement there. The UK wants a right to object to new rules that kick in within the EU during transition. There's a disagreement there. The UK wants to continue to participate in new justice and home affairs policies that bubble along. The EU says, well, hang on a minute, you've left, so that isn't necessarily possible. And then, as you were just alluding to, Stephen, and you know better than anyone in this conversation, the whole question of the Irish border remains unresolved. Before Christmas, there was a huge kind of sense of excitement, wasn't there? Because phase 1 was cleared. But remember, phase 1 required sufficient progress on those first 3 issues, the Irish border, citizens' rights, and the divorce settlement, the financial settlement. It didn't require a complete solution to be found. And whilst there is agreement on all sides that there shouldn't be the return of a hard border between Northern Ireland and the Republic, there isn't yet an accepted solution to how you can achieve
said, is this a game where you follow traffic rules?
Yeah, you have to follow the truck. I'm basically a delivery truck guy. You have to follow the traffic rules, follow the speed limit as you get ticket. Can't break traffic lights. If you see police, you gotta take your time as you get tickets. You're basically trying to build a company. So at the minute I own a little rundown garage. Oh, police is flew past. Nice speeding down. You can basically buy other garages and have people working for other people working for you. You can actually have real people working for you, like other players, like delivering goods. If you get a big enough company, you can hire other real drivers. So then you'll have a big truck company going. Hire deaf mage to do some drop-offs.
Just across this island, but between these two islands as well. Tens of thousands of jobs depend upon it, not only directly in manufacturing but in the supply chain as well. And that's even before we get into.
You even got it. If you're on a long trip, like talking about that, what's my petrol? You gotta even put petrol in. Make sure you got a full tank.
Having good, solid, safe community.
AL
You got a full tank though.
said, can you smuggle drugs?
Saying a hard Brexit is economically much superior to a soft Brexit.
Yes, I mean, I think it's government policy, of course, as you know, to leave the single market and the customs union.
I hope not.
This business of the hard border.
It will take away the realistic. Well, saying that people do that, don't they?
Mr. Barnier neglects is that under WTO law, which we won't be subject to after we leave,
Okay. Press the following key to stop engine.
borders must be
Okay, stop the
seamless.
engine.
To quote Stephen Kelly.
Hey.
And what a lot of people don't seem to realize is that under
just following key
WTO
to
rules,
fuel
modern
tank. Okay.
customs, 98% there is no physical inspection of cargoes, and the other 2% are cleared on average in a
Alright.
day.
That's filled
So
up.
that's not a hard border in my way of thinking. That's a seamless border.
Let's roll
But
out.
a lot of people don't realize that that's what borders are these days because of computerization and the WTO rules, which in order to allow all these supply chains to move seamlessly, that Stephen Kelly
DR of Welsh Magic
quite rightly,
said,
you need that seamless
bring me
border
some please.
across all the borders
What's up,
of the
Doc?
world in principle, but of course the developed countries in particular, because they're the ones that must be able to afford it and do and create this seamless border. So I don't think, you see, that we will have a problem with that border in practice. So that's the point.
I'm actually going Cardiff. I can. Oh yeah, you know what it looks like around Wales. I can actually drive to Wales as well. That.
Everything will happen faster, and they'll face tariffs on that.
And you'd actually reckon if I go to Wales, you'd recognise it as well. They've got like the real landmarks now.
The reality of this is that currently where no border exists, what we're talking about is adding additional cost and complexity. And when you add that cost and complexity, that damages our competitiveness, it damages the trade that we can do, and ultimately it damages jobs. So regardless of whether that border is seamless, the fact that we are adding any new level of control picks up additional costs that need to be compensated in some way by our manufacturing firms here at home. Now, whether that is in terms of reducing their cost base by where they buy their products from, more likely it's actually about reducing the numbers of jobs. I don't know. There's been various reports out there, particularly in the last week, around what this impact would have on the Northern Ireland economy.
Whoa! No, this truck can't go out the corner that fast. I felt that in the wheel. I felt that in the steering. Just the back wheels tipped up.
No, it's not. It's a 12% drop in growth.
Yes.
In growth. It is not
Yeah, from what
12%
it could
drop.
be.
Yeah, in GDP. Patrick Whitford.
Well, I mean, it just seems to be that Stephen is balancing angels on the end of a pin. I mean, a seamless border is a seamless border. As a matter of fact, there are differences of regulation on both sides of the Irish border, and the governments involved, the UK and the Irish government, deal with these things without stopping anything at the border. And it seems to me extremely likely.
Oh, Oh, here we go. Windmills. Did I sign the button to the windmills? I don't think I did.
There will be arrangements made so that virtually all traffic goes through unchecked, which is what happens, as I was saying earlier. On 98% of
I need somewhere to park up to figure out this windmill.
that's the whole point. So I don't know what's needed at the moment. If the traffic's all going through
Oh, no, that's not it.
unchecked, what's the problem?
That's not it.
There has to be some paper.
AL said, turn on your wipers and lights.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to figure out the buttons. Yeah, hold on. Okay, that's lights. That's not wipers. No, that's still not the right one. No. Oh crap. All right. Hold on. I just have to block the road up.
Extended interview with the broadcaster
I need
Noel Edmonds. Good evening. It's 11 o'clock. I'm Stephen Nolan.
And the main news on 5 Live, an 11-year-old girl has died after a stabbing in Wolverhampton.
And in sport, Manchester City call for a meeting with referees to discuss bad tackles on their players.
Oh, it's got the real radio stations as well and real news. Imagine that.
News time. Here's David Harper.
West Midlands police say an 11-year-old girl who was stabbed at a house in Wolverhampton has died in hospital. Jasmine Forrester was found with serious injuries early this morning. A 51-year-old man who's said to be related to her has been arrested on suspicion of murder. US officials say they're discussing what should happen to the two jihadis captured in Syria yesterday. Alexander Kote and El Shafi al-Sheikh from West London,
you passed it.
of an Islamic State
AL
which tortured and murdered
said,
dozens of hostages.
I thought I saw wipers.
James Foley was killed by the group in Syria in 2014. His mum Diane wants them jailed for life.
Two of many who have inflicted such pain on not only hostages, including my son, but certainly on the people of Syria.
Oh yeah, there you go, wipers.
Folks within Europe. And
so
I really
I'll make this
hope
one
that justice
wipers, I
can be
think.
served, that they can be held accountable.
Okay.
Oxfam says it's created a safeguarding team following allegations that its aid workers regularly used prostitutes when they were working in Haiti in 2011. Prostitution is
AL
there we go.
said, P.
Oh.
Kirsty Weekly is from Civil Society Media, a trade publication for the Charity Centre.
Oh, I can speed it up. Nice. One wipe. There we go. Yeah, I like that.
The coal man who pretended his family had died in the Grenfell Tower fire has been jailed for 21 months.
Oh, what was my lights again? Yeah, there you go.
The EU's Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier says checks at the Irish border may be unavoidable.
There we go.
AL
now we can hit the speed.
said, what's going on DR?
You can even get a ticket for not having your headlights on. Forgot about that. I've got the American truck sim as well. That one's crazy, man. They drive on the wrong side of the road. Can't play that one. I tried it, but it's awkward, man.
Manchester City have written to the body responsible for Premier League referees asking for a meeting to discuss their concerns about
AL
tackles.
said,
haha. Challenges on their players over the past few weeks have not been punished properly, and they feel other top clubs will support them and race for the issue. Riyad Mahrez will travel to Manchester City tomorrow after returning to training with Leicester, but manager Claude Puel hasn't revealed whether he'll play. The winger says untrue assumptions have been made about his absence from training. came from behind to get a point from their game with Cardiff in the Championship. It finished 1-1 at the Den. In Super League, Wakefield had their second win of the season, narrowly beating Salford 14-12 to go top of the table. And coverage of the Winter Olympics begins at
AL said, is that the actual radio playing? Or game radio?
It's the game radio, but it's actual radio, if that makes sense. The game's got real radio, a real radio built in, so you can change the radio station. But I don't want to play a radio station with music because of YouTube. I don't know how that'd react, so I just find a news radio.
AL said, yeah, that makes sense, haha, nice.
Oh, you can pimp your truck out as well, man. You can put, you know, the you can pimp out the interior, the seats, the dashboard, the steering wheel, the lights, the outside. You can pimp it out. I ain't got no money for that yet, though. I should be getting £2,000 for this job.
AL said, what are we hauling?
I didn't even check what cargo. I just choose the front. It says on the side of the truck. I think it's bread. I think it's bread. I didn't even check the cargo though. I just wanted to do a quick job. Sat nav. Whoop. There we are. Yeah, I get 2,000 for the job.
Bubba Shinobi said, Mad Dog is driving on the wrong side of the road.
This is the right side, man. Hey, Bubba, I got the American truck sim as well, man. So you can, I can drive to Mexico on the American one. So you can show me some scene. And it's got the real places in Mexico as well, and the States.
AL said, Mad Dog, you should play this game like GTA. Bubba Shinobi said, LOL.
If I play this
Mexico
like GTA, I'll have no money. Because if I crash, you see the $2,000, that's them for delivering the cargo safe. If I crash, why is it saying minus? What the heck? That can't be right. I'm not late, am I? Nah, I shouldn't be late. Coming up to Cardiff, oh, it's 30-mile zone. Now you see when you see the 30-mile zones, you can try and break it, but you have to look out for the speed cameras of the police. Which I like that, so it's a bit realistic. I'm in Cardiff. And that is what Cardiff looks like, if anyone knows Cardiff. That's what it actually looks like, believe it or not.
Bubba Shinobi said, you should ask Rico for some pointers, Mad Dog. He drove trucks for a lot of years.
I look around and I think, well, where's everybody gone? Where
Yeah, should
all those people I used to be working with? Where are they now?
Does it screw you up slightly that you're on to all my friends or whatever they are, dentists and doctors, bank managers?
Oh, watch the back of the car, buddy.
And I kind of when I look at Gladstone and then when
going over there? Yeah, I think I am.
And I can think that maybe regular financial employment, is a good idea. But I've been very fortunate that almost every
AL said, almost there.
I actually became more successful and was very well rewarded, and life has no securities whatsoever.
Hey, here we go.
So following the professions never appealed. Let's be honest, let me be honest.
Now this is where it
When I
gets
was
tricky
growing
like
up
this.
in Essex
I'm
in the
not an expert at
1960s,
this, so I'm gonna go
my parents, who were both
for
teachers, my father
that
was a
one.
careers master, tried to encourage me to go
Okay,
into
where is
the
it?
professions, and I'm so glad
Where am I gonna
I
drop
did,
this off?
because I had the most wonderful.
Go on, put it
series of
somewhere hard
jobs
to go. It's not there.
Mentioned Saturday Night TV, no.
Where is it?
How competitive that is. Do you handle pressure
Okay,
well?
so
What was it like
okay,
being box office?
that's not
Saturday
too
Night
bad.
TV, but once one show's over, you've got to make the next show box office too.
Well, I was incredibly fortunate to be working for BBC television in
What is
what
going on
could
with this? Why is he doing that?
arguably be
Other?
called the golden age of television, with some incredible people at Television Centre, led by charismatic
Buttons
individuals,
all twist
Carl
up. No,
Jim
that's
Meyer
not.
and various other executives. It was a totally different era, and so it was a different BBC, but I was in no doubt why I was hired to do first the
no,
show,
button.
Roadshow, and then
AL said,
I was hired to be
you might have
ITV.
to back up into the
Simple as
spot.
that. And on Saturday nights in the 90s,
Now press something
I
though.
sort
It's
of
not
backed
doing.
the
Oh,
sorted out, over a
no, press the
combined
wrong button. I
audience
think
of
I've
over
dropped the
30
thing.
million.
Lowering trailer.
It is.
Lowering.
And then
Oh my
Monday
gosh.
morning,
Press.
we wait for the overnights, the figures to come in, and we would have got 15.4, and
just
ITV
skip.
would have got 15.3.
I've done
and
something,
it's
so I'm
great,
just gonna
and
skip
some
that.
weeks they won, and
I pressed the wrong button and lowered the trailer already.
I kept delivering for the BBC that things would be okay.
Oh, level 2.
But of course, it was a period of huge
Okay.
change towards the end of the
Newbie.
90s, and change which we
long
now see the
distance,
results
high
of that
value
change
cargo, fragile cargo.
It was your company making the show,
I'll
wasn't
do
it?
some high
it was
cargo.
my company that owned.
I think they pay
the
more, so I'll
format
try and
and
boost up.
owned,
Oh, nah.
Elements
Go for a
of
bit of
the
long
show.
distance.
Mr. Broadway.
Yes,
Apply.
but it was made by the BBC.
Okay.
And we had
See
a
if
very
there's
good
another quick
commercial
job.
arrangement. We made a lot of money for BBC
Okay,
Enterprises as it was then, and elements of the show were sold around the world.
Fuel
And,
tank.
yeah, Mr. B was hugely successful with his #1 record, and that really pissed off Gary
Manchester.
Bowler, I tell you.
Manchester to Newcastle.
It is impossible, Stephen, for me to exaggerate my happiness at having been able to make that kind of television. And my
I'm in
gratitude
Cardiff
to
right
the
now,
BBC
so I look for
for a
something from
30-year
Cardiff.
career.
Yeah, Cardiff to Southampton.
Was Blobby one of the best money spinners you've ever done?
No. The best money spinner I've ever
Cardiff.
done was Noel Edmonds.
Yeah, I
That's
do.
interesting when you talk about yourself in the third person.
Cardiff to Birmingham, yeah.
Noel Edmonds is a brand.
Go back to Birmingham.
It's very, very
and take that job.
difficult, actually. In all seriousness, said he, laughing. When you've been in the public eye since the age of 18, it's very difficult to assess yourself. But I can remember being ridiculed when
so
I
what
did
was
some
it again?
interviews,
Way back?
probably in the late 80s, early 90s, where I talked about the viewers
the hell
and
do I get out of
listeners as
here?
consumers, and I talked about people like Michael Aspel, Alan Wicker, lovely Terry Wogan, as brands, and Noel Edmonds is a brand, but that, of course, came to be. Things that really make people thinking, hang on a minute, what's Noel Edmonds doing that for? However, I'm saying that
It's gonna be the next side.
Never forget, you carry that with you.
AL said BRB.
Alright, cool.
I'm not asking Noel Edmonds, the brand, about this. I'm asking Noel Edmonds this after the Saturday night.
There we go.
Television ends.
Well, why is there a siding? It's not letting me. That's just stupid. Can't get out.
Wilderness for a while.
Well, I wasn't out in the wilderness.
In terms of television
Well,
feel.
but you see, I liked the way you picked me up on the notion of the brand.
Ah, I so need my clutch, man. My gear stick.
As a job. Now, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, but when I went home,
how do I get out of this crap?
I got pricked by the real people, my family and friends. I'm a different Noel Edmonds, and unless you've got my phone number, you don't know the real me. But I had my businesses at that time, and I'd always said at the time I was 50, I was going to leave television. I've never ever seen being on television as the most important thing in life, and I certainly don't think it is at that point.
So you're saying to me that when you were at home, it didn't have any impact on you?
No, there was one tabloid newspaper who tried to give the impression that once my days at the BBC were over, I was sort of sitting at home in a darkened room with a telephone, sort of praying that it would ring and that I'd been taken back to Saturday nights.
Well, that weren't signposted very well, was it?
To do that, and I was very happy with the Unique Group and the businesses we were developing. I was working in television, but not in front of the camera. We had a very successful production company. We were producing things like the British Comedy Awards for ITV and doing shows for the BBC. So I'm still involved in television and radio. Unique Broadcasting was one of the most successful independent production companies there's ever been. We had an artists agency representing famous people and other businesses, and I was very, very happy. And I did a bit of farming. I thoroughly enjoyed my farming down in Devon. So I was a very, very happy bunny, and I haven't missed anything. And I feel in the same way now. 50 years in September. Deal was the most wonderful show to present for 10 years. Do I want to walk back into a television studio? Only if somebody came up with something very different and highly original.
You talk about the Unique Group as one of the most successful production companies ever, and of course you lost that. Can we talk through how that happened? Because my God, what a story that is.
Well, yes, and with all possible respect to you and the BBC, I have to choose my words carefully as a responsible broadcaster, because I don't want your legal people thinking, why did you say this and do that? Everything I'm now going to say in response to that question is factually accurate. Almost a year ago to the day, I found out why my businesses went into administration. I had always assumed...
Let's get the context first of all. So the Unique Group was a huge company making a lot of money, very successful, right?
Yes, we had not massive profits. I'm very happy to admit that. We had 70 staff. We had offices.
What? That was a speeding.
We had offices, 2 sets of offices in London. We had a design company. We were designing products for some of the biggest companies.
Oh, police is behind me. That's why. I was thinking I didn't see those speed cameras just.
What I was about to say.
That was sneaky. That was.
For 10 years, I thought it was me. I thought actually I must have been a rubbish businessman mostly until the day a year ago 5 people went to prison. 2 of whom worked for the bank that destroyed my business, and one of whom, Mark Dobson, who's now in Wandsworth prison for 4.5 years, he actually was my bank manager, and that's what destroyed my businesses. It had a massive impact on my personal life, and as I was very
understand. You left because I don't know. Were you then left as a result of this, having lost your fortune, or did you have another stuff? Did it matter financially? And you had nothing.
Well, it had an absolutely devastating effect on my money, my family's well-being, and ironically, this is one of the things that happens to non-members. I was saved by a bank in 2005 when Deal or No Deal came. And to give you an idea, the mental space I was in, I actually
should also say that a spokesperson for Lloyds has told us Lloyds Banking Group made determined efforts to reach a consensual resolution with Mr. Edmonds through mediation late last year, but this was not possible as the formal litigation process has begun. It would be inappropriate to comment other than to say his claim will be contested. And if you have been affected by anything Noel said so far, you can contact the Samaritans 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by calling 116 123 from anywhere
weeks when I met the wonderful Liz, I was back and I was thumping and enjoying life again. But it's, I tell you, it's a shocking place to go to.
What the heck was
Not a
that?
lot of people come back from it.
How does it change you?
It's made me appreciate life more. It's made me
take my
appreciate
cash.
friendship. I don't have anything to do with negative people. I'm an incredibly positive person. I research positive energy. And by that I mean scientifically researched it. I've even got a science company now.
Now, what's positive energy?
Positive energy, well, okay, we are energy beings. You think that you're skin and bone and flesh and blood, but actually all we are is trillions of cells, and those cells are made up of energy. And if you want to be healthy, you have to have positive energy, and when you're sick, you have negative energy. Everything on the planet vibrates, and you vibrate, and the table I'm leaning against vibrates.
Purchase a truck. How much money have I got?
Health
I ain't
is
got enough
actually
to
when
purchase a
everything
truck.
is vibrating really well for you.
Where's my
So,
bank then?
I follow a regime which I call the
can
positivity
take a
formula,
loan out
and
from
I
the
exercise in
bank.
a certain way, I eat certain things, I
Alright,
love
let me
my
see
wine
something.
still,
Alright,
but I
that
recognise it's
8
some
grand.
negative energy, so you have to
How much
balance
can I
it
borrow
with
from the bank?
good water,
What?
positive
I can
water,
borrow
a little bit
100
of
bags off the
meditation,
bank.
bit of break.
Positive water?
Nah, I'll
Yeah,
go
positive
bankrupt
water.
there too
What's the
quick. Let me
difference between
just
positive
check
water
some.
and the tap water I'm drinking?
Purchase truck.
The tap water you're drinking is actually very bad for you. Positive water is...
I'm sure Northern Ireland Water would have something to say about that. I would dispute that.
Positive water
No.
is water that is as close
Oh,
to
well, you might
its
as well.
natural form when it appears from a mountain or out of a spring.
This one's 95.
Unfortunately, water changes its form
113,
according to how we treat it. And if you're drinking water out of a tap in Manchester or London, that water has gone through pipes, it's gone through systems that has changed its components.
So if I
And
buy
there's a
that,
fascinating guy called Dr. Emoto, no longer with us, and another guy, Gerard Pollack. And if you Google them, you will understand what I mean by positive water.
And you will understand, you know this, I'm sure you don't care, but you know that some people listen to this and say to themselves, this is crazy, like this is crackpot stuff, that tap water is bad for you. And that you're trying to align yourself with vibrations around the earth.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't got a problem with sheeple saying that I'm crazy. That's fine. What's sane? What is crazy?
Some money from the bank.
You know, one of my biggest disappointments about the society we've created in Britain is that we stopped being curious.
Nah, that's
It's
too
probably
much.
fueled by social media, where people just pass an opinion and think they've solved a problem. We are cursed by uninformed opinion. So I'm telling you that water's got a memory. I'm telling you there are scientists who will tell you that there are 4 elements to water. I'm telling you that nobody really believes what water is. We don't really know.
Water's got a memory.
Yeah, water can communicate. Now, all of these things are scientifically
I don't want to get
proven.
bankrupt
Who's
already,
it
but I'm gonna
communicating
go
with?
for it.
It's communicating with us, it's communicating with other water, it's communicating with everything around it.
You think water is talking to us?
No.
So what, communicating in what way?
Energy.
Just go back
Everything's
here.
about energy. You know, I find it extraordinary that more people aren't curious about energy, the energy around them. You know, all we are is energy. When I said a couple of years ago, there is no such thing as death, what I said was actually there's a departure. And that is a scientific fact. You know, read James L. Oshman, fantastic guy, absolutely brilliant scientist.
Got my first truck.
And this man's dedicated his life to understanding the human body energy system.
So if there's no such thing as death, then it's a departure.
Yeah, well,
yes.
all we are is energy.
Business is ready.
At the point that somebody signs a death certificate, where's it gone?
You tell me.
No, you tell me.
Well, I'm not sure.
Well, you're full of energy, right? Trillions of cells, energetic cells, vibrating hopefully healthily. That is what sustains you. What happens? Where does that energy go?
I've got my own
you
truck.
cannot destroy energy. You cannot create it. You can only change its form. Fact. Where does it go?
I gotta work out.
Do you believe in a soul?
Where does it go? It's a reasonable question, Steve.
Rinse. I'll just bankrupt myself for it. I won't have enough money to keep up with the payment.
Be curious and find out. It is a
Well,
fact
saying
that at the point of
Let me
departure,
see what jobs are
as
there.
I call
Probably
it,
can pick up a
the
big
human
job.
body weighs less than when we are living. You know, words, we need words so we can communicate. They're our greatest gift, but they're also our greatest curse. And so death feels so final and so cruel and horrible. But departure is actually scientifically accurate. And that energy has to go somewhere. And what I'm trying to do is find out where it goes. And the people at CERN are trying to find out where it goes.
Of course, we're not just energy. We're all individuals, and our soul is unique to each of us.
So what's the soul?
Where do you think our soul goes?
Well, what's the soul?
Stop asking the questions.
No, because you use the crazy word, but I'm not crazy. I'm curious. What is the soul? What is the human spirit? What is it? What do you think it is?
I think it's. I think our soul is our individuality.
How do I get a job?
As you know, that's rubbish. That is not an answer to the question.
Do you believe in an afterlife?
Complete world.
I believe in life. I believe in reincarnation. I believe, as Einstein did, that there is an energy matrix which encapsulates everything in the universe, whatever that is, and we don't know what that is. And I believe that this energy has an intelligence and communicates at incomprehensible speed. And I believe that at CERN, the quantum physicists have discovered that energy, and I actually think they are very close to discovering what Einstein called the invisible Kuiper. Now, whether that's God or whether it's something else, I haven't got a clue. But I'm fascinated by the way science is going.
You haven't got a clue, but you must have a view.
So this is.
Well, I have a view.
Do you believe in God?
I don't believe in God as other people describe God. I believe in a higher energy force. I don't think everything around us has happened by accident. I believe there's a creator, a manager, and an organizer, but I've got no idea what it is.
And when you say you believe in reincarnation, so do you believe on after your death that
departure?
Yes, but reincarnated as what?
Well, I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
Could it be as another person?
I think that's a strong argument, but I have no idea where that energy goes. Think of it as a web. Think of it as a beautiful silky energy web. I have no idea. I'm not intelligent enough, bright enough to be able to answer these questions. And actually, do you know what? I don't think there's a scientist who's lived or is living who gets it, who's found it yet. But I'm really excited. I think we are very nearly there. I am fascinated by quantum physics. I'm fascinated by Niels Bohr. I'm fascinated by Max Planck. These people seem to understand something that we've kind of forgotten about.
My goodness, television seems so trivial compared to this conversation, doesn't it? But I don't want to do this interview and end it without talking about deal or no deal. You said no the first time it was offered to you, you turned it down.
Yeah.
How did they get you to do it then?
I have a wonderful agent called John Miles, who's been a close friend for a very long time. And he called me at my home in France, and he said, look, Peter Bazalgette, he runs Endemol. He really wants you to do it. Channel 4 want you to do it, and do you think that you'd come to London and explain to them? Because he said, I can't explain to them why you don't want to do it. So I flew to London, went to Shepherd's Bush, and they said, why don't you play the game? And so we played the game in a room, and I got it. And I saw it. I said, can I change it? What do you mean? It's a format. It's been very successful in other countries. I said, I want to make it a people show. It's not about the boxes. Yeah, the boxes are important. But if this is going to be successful, the audience has to feel playing the game. I claim that as my suggestion. And turned that way 3,000 pounds later, 10 years. It was an enduring success because we focused on the participants, not so much the money. Well, of course, it wasn't a quiz show.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually was the most extraordinarily simple format. Absolutely brilliant. And a privilege to present because I got to meet some amazing people. But Stephen, what is the soul? Why am I allowed to let you get away with this? Because I'm not wacky Edmonds. I'm just really curious.
You see, I haven't suggested you are.
Well, you did use the crazy word.
I said that some people, when you know it to be true, that some people listening to this, when you go to this type of stuff, will say it's supposed to be, you know them. Of course you know them, because you're not, you've said yourself.
Yes, and I said, look, you just about what you're doing a very neat little swerve here. I'm allowed to have some fun with this as well. You're doing a neat little swerve away from things that are based on fact.
Look, I'm finding it difficult to find my own place. I don't know.
You need help.
I don't know. We all do.
I can help you, Stephen. I'll give you my phone number.
But what
We need to meet and talk.
What is the soul?
I
You have a difficult time enjoying life if I didn't think that was soul. That's what I would answer that. I can't believe that we're more than just energy. And when you say that's all we are, well, that's pretty depressing.
No, because that's part of the energy. That's part of the. That's exactly the point.
My
they want to just go down to first fight hard around the best live sport to get
BBC 5 Live. Good evening, it's 12
see them trying to down
Now
together.
the main news on 5 Live. This
See,
firm is being
weird.
scrutinised after allegations of
Look,
inappropriate
no,
behaviour.
but
And
look,
in sport, former
this is what I'm
Celtic
saying. I could just drop straight to Fergus, but I'm gonna click down to
This is BBC 5 Live. The government is reviewing its work with Oxfam following allegations that some of its aid workers used prostitutes in hating. The charity has denied claims as a government and says it sacked several staff after an investigation in 2011. Anthony Stewart is from the Haiti support group.
Those who give earnestly, be it the individual donor or states, perhaps rather than charities such as Oxfam were honest in their business. I think pushing it really hard suggests that there might be an unwillingness to look at the responsibility of the faith.
West Midlands police say an 11-year-old girl who was stabbed at a house in Wolverhampton has died in hospital. Jasmine Forrester was found with serious injuries. A 51-year-old man who's said to be related to her has been arrested on suspicion of murder. US officials say they're discussing what should happen to two jihadis captured in Syria. Alexander Kote and El-Shafi El-Sheikh from West London, part of an Islamic State group cell which tortured and murdered dozens of hostages. Professor Anthony Glees is an expert in security.
make your mind
and
up, man. Make your mind up. Make your mind up.
From Britain will be the last by any means, but it is an American operation. We've been told today that the two men captured last month have been stripped of their British nationality and citizenship. Therefore, there is no automatic reason why they should come back to Britain inside here.
The EU's chief Brexit negotiator says a transition period after Britain leaves isn't a given. Michel Barnier also says if the UK leaves the customs union and single market, it could make Irish border checks unavoidable. Stock markets in America have posted their worst weekly losses since January 2016. Dow Jones and the S&P have both fallen 10% from record highs on the 26th of January. In London, the 100 share index fell another 1% today. Richard Hunter is from the online trading platform Interactive Investor.
What we've really seen is a return of volatility. That's where we've been seeing the swings both ways in the markets. That being said, the Dow Jones, for example, even after the poor week it's had this week, it's only down about 3% for the year. And if you go back 12 calendar months, 1 year, it's still up 20%.
Jeez, that's a long trip.
It's claimed new technology will enable police to identify potential suspects in less than a minute. The mobile fingerprint scanning system is being trialled at the scene of crimes in West Yorkshire and could be rolled out to other UK forces within the year. Here's Assistant Chief Constable Andy Battle.
Well, we've had digital technology that's enabled us to track people's fingerprints for a number of years, but all that technology is currently based in the police stations. What this is allowing us to do now is to deploy that technology out into the communities we police, in the hands of police officers, so that they can now check people's identity through their fingerprints at the roadside and out in communities.
And Eurostar is starting direct services between London and Amsterdam. Trains will run twice daily from the 4th of April, with the journey to Holland taking 3 hours and 41 minutes. That's the news. With sport now, here's Shabnam Yunus.
Former Celtic and Manchester United midfielder Liam Miller has died at the age of 36 after suffering from cancer. Another of his former clubs, Hibs, said they were incredibly saddened to announce the news. Miller ended his career in the United States in 2016. Manchester City have written to the body responsible for Premier League referees, asking for a meeting to discuss their concerns about bad tackles. It's understood the club feel 9 challenges on their players over the past few weeks have not been punished properly, and they feel other top clubs would support them in raising the issue. Riyad Mahrez has travelled to Manchester City after returning to training with Leicester, but manager Claude Puel hasn't revealed whether he'll play later. The winger says untrue assumptions have been made about his absence. Millwall came from behind to get a point from their game with Cardiff in the Championship. They finished 1-1 at the Den. In Super League, Wakefield got their second win of the season, narrowly beating Salford 14-12 to go top of the table. And you can watch coverage of day 1 of the Winter Olympics in Pyeongchang. BBC One shortly.
This is BBC 5 Live on digital, online, smartphone and tablet. The weather, showery rain, sleet and possibly snow for East Anglia through the early hours. Elsewhere, mainly dry, clear and cold, possibly windy with some rain and hill snow pushing east. Later on, it'll be windy in the south, rain pushing east everywhere else. The possibility of hill snow in the north, showers in northern Scotland and a wet field.
Five Live's Eleanor Oldroyd was at the opening ceremony today. So what did she make of the occasion?
I thought it was a great opening ceremony. It was quite informal, actually. We've got used in the last few years to these really big, all singing, all dancing, kind of almost slightly over-the-top ceremonies. But it was quite modest. The Olympic Stadium itself only holds around 35,000 people. We had the president of the IOC, Thomas Bach, with no tie, but it was cold, so you needed people to get into it. And most of the British team, they marched out with Lizzie Arnold holding the flag, and then they pretty much went off to get back into the warm again. But it was a mixture of culture, a bit of a nod to the future as well. There was one sequence where we had AI, artificial intelligence, and calligraphy in the same VT. So that's what it was, really. A beautiful lighting of the flame, one of the best lightings of the flame I've ever seen, with the skater Yuna Kim, who actually did a little routine on a specially built ice rink just underneath the Olympic cauldron at the very, very top of the stadium. And that was really quite an emotional thing. And there was also this great show of unity as well between North and South Korea. There was the President Moon Jae-in of South Korea and Kim Yo-jong, who is the sister of the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, sitting together and handshakes, and just this feeling that just at least for this one night, the two sides of the Korean peninsula were united.
Well, there's been a lot of talk in recent days about just how cold it is at the Olympic Park, but the freezing cold did not stop the flag bearer from once again going fully topless at the opening ceremony.
It was extraordinary. I mean, it actually has been a relatively balmy -4 degrees in Pyeongchang today, so some of us have actually gone out without hats on, which we'd never have dreamt of doing 5 days ago, so the temperature has gone up quite a bit. But yeah, the Tongan flag bearer, you remember he did a similar thing in Rio, where he competed in Taekwondo 2 years ago, but this time he's competing in the cross-country skiing, and he came out, so while most people had the big thick jacket over the top, the ski trousers, the thick boots, the thick gloves, the hats and the hoods over their heads, this guy was stripped to the waist, oiled, wearing a grass skirt and flip-flops.
Among the events making their Olympic debut this year is the big air snowboarding, or Big Air for short. So what is it exactly?
Big Air is a new event at the Winter Olympics this year. So you know about slopestyle. It's the rails and then the ramps that they come off, and they do tricks as they go down the pools. So you might get 3 or 4 big tricks, so big jumps, big turns in the air, big sort of athletic gymnastics tricks. Big Air is just one great big ramp on one gigantic kicker. So the ramp that they go off at the top, and so you come down on that, and then you do the most spectacular move that you can pull out. Twists, turns, somersaults, and it's a great blow actually, because Katie Ormerod, who had great chances as on the snowboard, both the snowboard events, the slopestyle and the Big Air, and who managed to break her heel in training on the eve of the games, and so had surgery in Seoul earlier this morning. But Big Air is going to look amazing. I mean, if the sun stays out and we get lots of blue skies, that combination of the white snow and the blue background and the spectacular tricks, it's going to look stunning on TV when you're watching it on the BBC.
So that's 5 Live's Eleanor Oldroyd reporting. Of course, 5 Live will be bringing you all the big moments from the Winter Olympics live throughout the course of the event. You can also watch the action from midnight to midday on BBC TV or via the BBC Sports website and app, and there will also be Today at the Games on BBC 2 every night. Okay, 12 minutes past midnight. Let's get stuck into the papers as we always do at this time of the night with Drina Say Mitchell and Sean Bailey. Hello, Drina.
Hiya, how you doing?
Author and broadcaster Drina Say Mitchell, and the London Assembly member, former advisor David Cameron, Sean Bailey. Mr. Bailey, good evening to you.
Good evening to you both. Good evening to all listeners.
Right, lots of stories around. Drina, do you want to start with tuition fees, do you? Which paper is this in?
This is in the Eye, and the headline is Tuition Fees Cut. Treasury gives PM green light. And this has just been such an issue for such a long time, and the government have finally caught up with the public. There was a poll last year that said that 2/3 of people want annual tuition fees to be slashed or scrapped, and the Treasury is now happy to see tuition fees fall because of debt. I mean, can you imagine? You're a young person, you've got your whole life ahead of you, you want to go and get an education, and somehow you end up with this albatross around your neck of 50 grand's worth of debt. And if you're a poor student who would have had a maintenance grant, well, maintenance grants have actually gone now, so you would have had to have gone for a student loan. Plus, you've got interest on top of that, and I think interest is around something like 6.1%. And I think it's just us as a society rethinking our whole notion of higher education. Why would you, as a young person, go to university if that is how you're going to start your adult life with? And remember, our young people are already facing big obstacles in terms of getting accommodation, in terms of getting jobs, because if you go and get a degree, you've paid 9 grand or more in terms of fees. A lot of graduates now, when they leave, they're ending up in non-graduate jobs, so they must be asking themselves, well, what was the point of me going to university in the first place? So it's still to be seen what that actually means in terms of a fall in terms of tuition fees, but I'm waiting for the days when tuition fees are hardly anything for people, because that's what the British education system has been about and should be about.
Sure. I mean, Drida, I couldn't disagree more. You're forgetting it was a Labour Party who suggested, and maybe not wrongly, let's give credit where credit is due, that a far larger number of people
Mike
need
the
to
Reaper
go to university because of the change
said,
in our economy.
driving on the wrong side.
That level of education is very useful. So when you grow that amount of people, you need to pay for it. And I think the difference here between the Treasury giving their blessing
Mike the Reaper
as opposed to somebody just saying, let's get rid of all the fees, it has to be sustainable. One of the 2 points I would make that are really material here. More people from poor backgrounds have gone to university since tuition fees has come, because it's opened up university. It's just meant a larger number of people, period, across the board can go, because the whole cost of university isn't borne by the taxpayer. It means a number of people can go to university is much larger. And the reason I think poorer people have gone, because it means their family doesn't have to afford them to university. I paid tuition fees. Yes, it was a labour to pay them back. But I tell you something now, the size of a grants covering your whole living expenses ended ages ago. And there's absolutely no way my mother could have afforded to send me to uni. So that acted as a bar. You went to uni if your parents' wallet could afford it. There's no way my parents could. And also as well, you've got to look at it like this. They only ask you to pay it back. I fully accept it's a large amount of money.
I'm gonna have to jump off, man.
But they only ask you to pay it back.
I'll be back.
I'll be back on.
This is a stupid place to leave the truck. But
if you look at your friends who don't go to university, many of my friends didn't. I've been able to earn more than them. So to ask them to subsidise my education for me to earn more, there's a moral question to be answered there. Of course,
yeah, Mike's on.
Let's
I'm
make
going
it
to
as
shut the
small as
stream
we
down,
can,
man.
but let's remember.
But I'll be doing a lot more of this Euro
but
truck.
I think we're from
now I
two
borrowed a
different
loan off the
generations,
bank.
because I am from the generation, like yourself, I think we're from very similar backgrounds, that I didn't have to pay fees to go to university. My parents were expected still, because I was at home, to contribute, but not actually a lot. And I tell you now, Sean, if I had been expected to contribute 9 grand's worth of fees, I would not have gone to university. I would have done what I'm seeing lots more young people doing, because last